I am
Hold a grudge, you know.
Look up, Commander. Don't make me a vet. Huh?
Attention, Commander. There may be valuable parts at this location that can improve this unit's functionality. Performing a thorough search of the automech factory is advised. Should you wish to maximize your Valerie unit's combat effectiveness, building factory schematics. It is likely the desired parts are being stored somewhere on the ground floor.
Let me know when you needed a stretch.
Invasive element!
Standing by with life support.
Contact reestablished! Seeking cover!
Appreciate a little help, Commander.
Their location ascertained! There you are!
My tolerances exceeded.
Knew you had my back.
Sequencing attack strategies.
Ready to take the heat off you, Commander. Just say when.
Mr. Endure!
upgrade module compatible with your Valerie unit is nearby.
Anybody even listening to this? Hello once more. I guarantee you some of my inventions will be working soon. Oh, I prefer to focus on the present and the future and not things that may or may not keep me awake in the dark and lonesome hours of the night. Is this how one gets ahead in business? I suppose I ain't got a choice. Before it crashed, I served on the free market as a secondary engineer, first grade. Had a colleague who was very talented, but not very good at hiding it. The supervisor saw her as a threat and demoted her to the engine room. She wasn't the type to take a blow without dodging. My colleague sabotaged the engines when her partner was on his mandated 2-minute break. When the free market attempted to breach orbit, well, just about everyone died. I made it to an escape pod on the port side. The ship landed on its starboard. I got lucky. Yeah, me too. Anyway, can we get back to subjects that aren't this? I got goods to sell. My contraptions don't explode no more. Honest.
Greetings. How has the data collection fared? That's hardly surprising, considering the station's predilection for gossip. So long as you provide us the information, we can parse through it and decide fact from fiction. Are you prepared to present what you have learned? Finally, a breakthrough. Let's hear it. How did the ACS free market meet its end? So the backstabbing nature of Auntie's choice is hampering even the most basic of command chains. Good to know. Aside from the crash, what occurred in the ship's final moments? An incompetent captain and an incompetent crew. Tisk tisk. Last question. Were there any contributing factors to the crash? Anything that might recontextualize what actually happened? Failing to recognize ability? Seems Auntie's choice is forgetting where upward enters into the phrase upward mobility. Thanks to you, my report is complete. Here, something for your considerable help. With you as well. I'll certainly keep you in mind for any further information gathering escapades. Now I need to get this report to my superiors. Thanks again.
Heard that rift near the archive has destabilized. Halt! The Oracle Laureate sent ahead to expect someone matching your description. However, he said nothing about admitting questionable allies. Cultist. Agitators are not permitted inside Laplace's garden. Your companion will have to wait outside.
Maybe that would be for the best, Commander.
You should heed the wisdom of your friend.
That's... yes. You must admit they're quite striking when detached from their unfortunate associations.
As likely as I find that theory, we have rules and regulations for a reason. We are at war, you might have noticed. Fine. The consequences be on your head if it proves otherwise. Head on in.
Ah, Agent, I have a message for you. Oh, I was not expecting you to be in the company of a cultist.
I am no longer... Regardless, the term cultist is insulting. Would you care for me to explain why?
No, that won't be necessary. Where was I? Oh, yes, I remember now. On behalf of the Order of the Ascendant and her impermeable wisdom, the presiding bishop Ruth Bassar, welcome to Laplace's garden. The presiding bishop is presently indisposed, but I've been instructed to direct you to the Artificer Laureate for whatever pressing matter has brought you to the garden. She's working in Belvedere Hall's secondary courtyard. Enter the large building at the top of the mesa ahead and follow the first hall on your right. Oh, yes. The vicar did ask me to direct you to him. How positively forgetful of me. He should be waiting for you in Belvedere Hall's main courtyard at the top of the stairs. May all your problems precede solutions.
Is it just me? Or does something seem... Oh, never mind.
You. I don't know who you are. But if you thought it wise to bring a cultist into the heart of Order territory, you are deeply foolish. I have not the slightest theory as to how you bypassed our guards. But if it was through violence, be assured, it will be returned exponentially. I shall be the judge of her trustworthiness myself. There is a cultist-centric issue the Order needs resolved. I suspect you are capable of doing such. If you are not, I cannot trust you, and certainly cannot allow you to see Ruth.
I may not be as excited about killing as I once was, but when it comes to cultists who are still worshipping the rifts, it may be necessary.
My task is this. A myriad of cultists have taken over the settlement of Newton, which is a nearby site of historical but not strategic significance. I want them gone. Once there was a bridge stretching from the settlement to the archive, but it was destroyed by a rift. Best keep your distance should you travel there.
Now that I'm thinking on it, there may be a way I can leverage my previous position in the Dawn to our advantage. People joined the Dawn to be led. I can use that.
I'll withhold my appreciation until this task is complete. May you act within the equation's confines.
Rift weapon prime! Victory or death! Yeah!
Proceeding to attack. Adversary vulnerabilities identified.
That wasn't intentional. Yeah.
That rift should cause us no problems now that we've acquired the modulator. It's strange how I ended up here after all my time with the cult. I think I knew it was a lie all along. I just felt such freedom, such excitement, like nothing I'd felt before. But it was all hollow. Being free didn't give me purpose. It simply served to distract me. Now, I don't even have that, do I? I know you said I can do whatever I want, but that's just it. I don't know what I want. Really? Why has no one told me that before? That helps. A lot. Thank you. Now that we've sorted the whole Dagmar situation, I think I can leverage my previous position in the Dawn to our advantage. People joined the Dawn to be led. I can use that.
I defer to your reliably sterling judgment, or at least wash my hands of any consequent blame.
What say you, Commander?
This is a holy site, traitor. Those shunned by the dawn are not welcome. Did you not hear me? You must leave unless you wish to be ushered into perfection before the rest of this architect-forsaken colony. But please, give me an excuse to kill the betrayer of our exalted leader.
I'm no betrayer. It is all of us who were betrayed. Where's your hierarch? I will speak with them at once.
I don't... that is... I can't... Hierarch! Hierarch Wolcott! You're needed over here! So, the power to manipulate rifts. That seems, let me just say I apologize if I've offended you in any way.
Wolcott? Wolcott's your hierarch? Shit.
Well, look here. I never expected to see you again, Azahelia. Here to spread more deceptions, like your broadcast.
Wolcott here blamed his lack of ascension in our ranks on imagined machinations on my part instead of the real cause. His thoroughly sycophantic ineptitude.
Well, this has been delightful as always, Azahelia. What say I have my sycophants kill you now? Unless you have any further inanities to spew as your last words. Do the deceptions never end with you and your ilk? I'm no fool. What you claim is an impossibility. How would such a thing even work? Yes, of course it does. Makes perfect sense. If it does, in fact, do such. Can never be too certain about things of such import. A lot of crazed theoreticians about. Come, prove to me this device can do what you say. Then I will decide. But let me assure you, if you do anything but follow me to the rift, violence will ensue. I must admit to a certain modicum of suspicion towards your claims, but consider my interest piqued.
Why is the hierarch leading outsiders to the rift?
Something of great import is afoot. No one gets escorted to the rift. Is it time for sacrifices? When's our turn?
Acolyte Varney said he heard them talking about a device that can change the nature of the rift.
That's preposterous. There must be some tomfoolery at hand.
Is that Asa the betrayer? Why is she here? And why is she still alive?
If you can indeed control the rift, as you say, that changes things. It could force us to rethink our understanding of the rifts, but we are nothing if not truth seekers. We are here. Prove to me that your device can manipulate the rift, as you claim. Gods! This should not be possible. That device borders on the heretical. You will hand it over now, and then we shall decide what to do with you.
Oh, that's right. I do. I know you ignored my broadcast, Wolcott, but the latest revelation is irrefutable. The science proves that we must align with perfection before we merge with the rifts, lest we be denied their paradise. We must show humanity the way to live righteously.
I did listen. I just refused to believe. I was always jealous of your scientific knowledge of the rifts, something that was beyond me. But if you can manipulate them, I can deny the truth no longer. Acolytes of the glorious dawn, prepare. We leave this place within the hour. We have a new message for humanity.
I always find I work best when undistracted. One could say I find the cultists at Newton quite the interruption to my focus. Now, how might we be of use to one another?
Not to mention their diminished mental capacity. But also your oration, definitely.
I find myself wishing you'd been less persuasive. With the cultists alive, they'll stand to impede us elsewhere. Nonetheless, you did as I asked. Here is your reward. You've proven yourself well, but we have recently experienced a pivotally important, unforeseen development. One I must meet directly. Can I count on you? One of the satellites comprising the Hyperion web was struck by a wayward craft and crashed on Paradise Island. I need someone to recover an informational component from it. I hope your zeal is properly placed. The Protectorate soldiers guarding the crash site are unlikely to let you close, unless something else is made to arrest their attention. I cannot say how that might be accomplished, unfortunately. Some of our scholars find answers to their solutions at the CAF integration point. Perhaps you might do the same. Collect the data from the crashed site and return it here. May the odds prevail against your bloody demise.
I'm cutting you off there, Charles. That's your third conviction today. People will start to worry.
Even your favorite vicar monk needs an occasional sabbatical from providing around-the-clock enlightenment.
On a scale of 1 to 100, how pleased are you with the garden in its current state? Please, try to capture your exact satisfaction to the nearest 10th integer.
100? Certainly. That's the right answer, isn't it? I can show my math if you need. Really love to stay.
Determining the remainder of your stay in La Plaza's garden is not the purpose of this survey, but your unprompted insecurity has been noted.
Hello, layperson.
Oh, hello. Cogitate here often?
Welcome to the CAF integration point. Will it be caffeine or convictions today? Convictions are statements which promote personal and professional confidence and well-being, leading to 22.9% more scientific breakthroughs in a given quarter. Interested? Before I can administer your conviction, I need to ask you a question. In what area of your life do you feel you need the most improvement? Personal or professional? Expand on that for me. You will not remain trapped in a state of ignorance for long. All the answers you seek will be revealed in time through hard work and dedication. Good. Never forget that you are a valuable factor in the universal equation and necessary to advancing the plan. Now then, a brief conversation is customary following the initial service. I haven't seen you around before. New project appointment? Must be an adjustment, all things considered. Come now, don't tell me you haven't noticed our particular strain of hospitality here in the garden. I can only imagine how odd such an abundance of tranquility and friendliness must seem when contrasted with, well, anywhere else in Arcadia, especially in the middle of a war, and so near active fighting. Almost unfeasible, wouldn't you say?
You know, you do a passable impression of a scientician. Did you grow up near one of our settlements? Have a few years of order training?
I'm quite sure I don't know what you mean.
Oh, I understand you may technically count as a member, but there's a perfunctory element to your articulation. You don't believe in the plan, and you're clearly up to something. She sized you up almost immediately, Commander. Been softly probing you for information. I clocked her the first moment she opened her mouth. Appreciate that. I spent decades undercover with only self-affirmations to assuage my vacillating morale. Well, do I have to shoot up the place? Or will you come clean immediately? Who do you work for, little mole?
By the architect, keep your voice down, please. Even if what you say is true, this isn't a conversation best had amidst present company. Let's talk somewhere more private. Behind the CAF integration point, perhaps? You must be curious why I asked for such a discreet rendezvous. Allow me to whet your appetite for intrigue a little further, shall I? I have adequate reason to believe the Order is conducting a mass experiment on the population of Laplace's garden. The Order is not cultivating its perfect, plan-abiding society through careful ideological pruning, as the laureates would have you believe. It's simple pharmacology. Put bluntly, they're regulating the emotions of everyone in Laplace's garden through drugs in the water supply. Why would the Order want to create a society of undistractable little academics whose only desire is to advance the plan? I wonder. I'm limiting my water intake and using other pharmaceuticals to combat the effects. It's not a perfect system, but it works adequately enough. It makes the mind quieter. Like closing the door on a screaming crowd. It's not unpleasant. Moderate your volume, please! No one here is in any immediate peril. Probably. The Order claims the subjects here supposedly consented to participate, but it was begun prior to the schism with the Protectorate, so who's to say? Regardless, if the Order has made some kind of pharmaceutical breakthrough, imagine how useful it might be to certain parties to know about it in advance. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? So you've heard of us. Good. That makes this easier. My primary task has been to watch the Order. But I'm confident my superiors would agree. Physical proof is of far greater value than mere rumor. Nothing nefarious, if that's the needle in your conscience. We only mean to study the drug and consider all of its many applications. I know that must read as terribly vague to you, but I'm not at liberty to provide more detail than that. All you need to do is enter water reconditioning and collect a sample of the drug. I believe they call it perspective. This passcode will give you access to the main terminal. Watch the guards patrol before making your way into the facility. If worst comes to worst, I wager Laureate Beckett also has a keycard on him, but that might be tricky to lift. Lately, he's been sitting near the fountains, performing his silly little breathing exercises. If he's not there, then he's likely in conference with the presiding bishop. Whatever you do, be discreet. I can't have any laureates asking questions about me. Understood? One more thing before you leave. Outside of work, I have, let's call it an alternative inventory. You'll have to pay, of course, but I'm sure I have something that'll make your job a little easier. And I'd like to offload some of this merchandise. Sounds like a win-win.
Did you know around 1,000 species of bacteria live on human skin? A fascinating, if not relevant, bit of trivia. Wouldn't you agree? And prodding me was intended to elicit what result, exactly? At any rate, I am quite conscious, merely waiting. I have no idea. Sometime last year, I predetermined an occasion of momentous import would happen today, right here, at these very coordinates. None taken. Oh, but now I've forgotten to introduce myself properly, haven't I? Leslie Beckett, Oracle Laureate, Seer Supreme, leader of the Department of Predictive Analysis, and not terribly good at informal introductions, evidently. Forgive me if I don't shake hands. I prefer to keep my skin microbiome free of exogenetic cells. You understand? But now, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the agent we've been expecting. I knew loitering at this location would yield results. I, don't suppose you've stumbled upon any of our excogitation chapels around Cloister by chance? Excogitation chapels are order residencies where one can meditate in solitude on specific theorems relating to the plan. They're scattered all around Cloister. Prior to the war, such focused study led to all manner of breakthroughs, with audio logs routinely kept by the scientician in residence. In these unprecedented times, such logs could harbor hidden wisdom. However, with the war on, I've sadly been unable to get my hands on the last of these recordings. Oh no, I couldn't possibly ask you to endanger yourself by seeking out these logs. Cloister is rather treacherous, and some of the chapels are difficult to reach by design. However, if you happened upon these chapels and recovered these logs, I would most certainly be interested in their contents. By my reckoning, the amount of logs to be collected is 4. You have that? 4. No more, no less. Each chapel should have at least one somewhere inside. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. How do you know about that? I mean, that is quite the allegation. I deny it effusively. First, answer me this. What is your interest in this matter? As much as I relish the idea of entrusting a stranger with sensitive and potentially incendiary information, I shall have to decline further comment. Perhaps if you were to help me out with recovering those logs I asked for, I could be more amenable to sharing knowledge. But let's put a pin in that for now, shall we? If there's nothing else, I would like to return to my deep breathing exercises.
The Oracle Laureate hoped that sending me into desolation would mend what he saw as wounds in my mind. The first few weeks were horrible. Grief dogging my every step. Nightmares of my murdered colleagues. But then, the nightmares began to ease, and the grief ebbed away. What replaced them is emptiness. The Order speaks of humanity becoming something more, but their words are insufficient speculation. There is nothing more to be. Only dust and death, and the rifts await us. Those rifts, I find the absolute annihilation they offer oddly soothing. Perhaps I will make one last pilgrimage. One last journey on the path from nothing to nowhere.
Hello. So, I'm trapped. Messages to the Order left unanswered. Tried to run. Got about 2/5 of me gouged out. A lot of blood. Last now. Spent much of my life wondering what I'd say at the end. Trying to think of the words for this felt like reading a thesis before the presiding bishop. But a lot of people die, and not a lot of final words get remembered. Certainly no one will hear these. So why worry about being meaningful? What matters is who I was when I was alive. And if I was predestined to be ursapod food. I think maybe I would have liked to re-roll the odds.
Beckett was right. Solitude has been good for my studies. In just 93 days, I have made extraordinary progress deciphering the truths of our universe. For instance, there are none. None whatsoever. Objective reality is itself a concept invented by subjective observers eager to apply reason to chaos. In light of that view, better to assume we are all sleepwalkers, sharing the same dream of consciousness. We are the universe attempting to know itself. Wow. Life-affirming, in a way. And to think, I almost walked out into that blizzard last week.
Disruptive influence!
Guns cocked and loaded. Just give the signal. Hostile. Combat!
forward to the reclamation of the Hyperion web. Hopefully you shall facilitate that. Now, how might we be of use to one another? Yes! Excellent! Take that, reductionists! Your horrid little surveillance devices shall finally be used for what their purpose should have been! Don't tell anyone about that outburst, please. Here's something to keep you quiet. I must admit I first had doubts, due to your association with a cultist. But yes, you've earned not only my trust, but the Order's as well. I hope you'll continue working with us. I've informed the presiding bishop you're coming to speak with her. She can be found in the room off the main stairwell. I'm sure I don't need to say this. But if you even think about bringing harm to Ruth, I shall know. Be on your very, very best behavior.
Ah, there you are. I was informed by Gertie you've agreed to help us reconvene negotiations. With your aid, Auntie's Choice and the Order will soon be rivals no longer. Just think of all we can accomplish if our two sides reject fractiousness and combine our efforts. Remember, seek out ways to help both sides. Engender trust. Gertie and I will let you know when it's time to move forward. In the meantime, I might recommend you work on honing your oratory skills. Our presiding bishop and Auntie Cleo can be challenging to debate with.
The Order has always proclaimed patience as a virtue, but I am pleased my waiting is finally at its endpoint. For so long, you have only existed as numerical values on a chart. A bright star in a constellation of possibilities, as it were. Now, with your arrival, the Order nears the totality of its goals, provided you are willing to stay aligned with our cause. Faith is trust without evidence. You deserve far more than that. Now then, I gather you already know who I am, but science has shown that good manners strengthen developing relationships by 5.3%. So, allow me to introduce myself. I am Ruth Bassar, third presiding bishop of the Order of the Ascendant, supreme calculator, and, plan willing, the architect of Arcadia's prosperous future. I admit, when I sent my initial message, I did not exactly know who its recipient would be. But I trusted the plan, and lo and behold, it provided you as the solution. Your recent exploits at Greater Tranquility Station have certainly made for compelling reading material. Confronting an assassin, and thereby sparing the delegates' lives before the rift inexplicably destroyed the station? Such a commendable effort is worthy of acknowledgement. Yes, by all reports it was. But the plan evidently has greater outcomes prepared for Vicar Levin. He is, at that. I consider him a close personal friend, and I cannot say that about many. However, there's something of even greater import we must discuss. I just received the most curious transmission from Auntie Cleo. She wishes to discuss a partnership of sorts, and I heard you were the source of this plot. I must admit I have significant doubts about colluding with an entity like Auntie's Choice. Why should the Order agree to even entertain the possibility? Yes, perhaps this is a fine opportunity to curve Death's grim median. Auntie Cleo has already proposed a secure conference room on board the Undisputed Claim for our use. I will await your arrival there to mediate.
Failed to cite her work completely. I worked with presiding Bishop Orlo, you know. Now there was a serious scientician.
Look who it is, the instigator of this little affair. Her mathematicalness should be along soon, unless the leader of the Order's too busy crunching numbers to attend to business.
There we are. Apologies for the delay. We were resolving some technical issues. Cloister's atmosphere has a tendency to...
Oh, yes. Regale us with a thorough account of Cloister's atmosphere. Spare no detail.
This must be Auntie Cleo's trademark wit. I expected better. If I was discourteous, I apologize. So long as our mediator proves up to the task, surely we can remain civil. If not, these negotiations may prove short indeed.
From where I'm positioned, I sense 3 sore points still in need of massage. Point 1, control of the archive. Point 2, oversight of production and distribution of skip cores. And point 3, management of Rift technology.
Before we go any further, I want it in writing that the Order will take full control of the archive without interference from Auntie's choice.
What? So the Order can set it fruitlessly idling for another few centuries? We would put it to far more practical use. Imagine the marketing strategies it could develop.
I would sever my own hand before giving custody of the archive over to a corporation. Humanity's ascension depends on its calculations. No, such a condition is out of the question.
I am amenable to that proposition. Less work on our part.
I'm waiting to hear an argument that would support such a ludicrous proposal. That is a compelling vision of the future. One I could perhaps support. Involving money in science seems questionable. But having access to Auntie's resources would be useful for our research. Fine. Yes, I agree. Reluctantly.
Ruth, I commend you for being so receptive. And I assure you that Auntie's choice values science. Nothing bad has ever happened when science and commerce are combined.
On the subject of science, it would be most prudent for us to discuss who will be overseeing the management of skip drives, specifically the production of skip cores.
No one understands production like we do. Besides which, we have far more experience using skip drives. It was how we came to Arcadia, after all.
Where Auntie's choice manages, the Order would undoubtedly excel. Do not exclude us from consideration merely for lack of experience.
So you ramp up production? And then what? Hand skip drives out for free to whoever wants one? Preposterous, and a waste of a perfectly good monopoly.
We would be diligent about who we licensed out the skip drives to, and a monopoly over space travel is precisely what I wish to avoid. This technology should benefit all humanity. That assumes Auntie's choice would even abide by such a list of restrictions, and which would almost be impossible for the Order to enforce.
Not to worry. We can build a regulatory commission to oversee production and make sure everything is up to Auntie's choice and Order standards. Oh, partiality concerns are a thing of the past. Obviously, regulators would be incentivized to care most about the safety of the consumer. You know, right after production costs.
As would the likelihood that we will eventually improve upon it. We shall allow Auntie's control of the current design. There is still the question of who takes possession of the Protectorate's rift technology once the war is finished. Although the science is still largely theoretical, this technology could be used to not only close rifts, but create new ones. A dangerous power indeed, left in the wrong hands.
The Order would fritter away valuable time endlessly hand-wringing what to do with the technology. Auntie's Choice would actually use it. For good, of course. In a gainful manner. A 50-50 split? But that's so equal. Goodwill rarely converts well into bits, but I suppose I do take your point. If Ruth's open to it, I believe I can agree on the general terms here. And, well, we can haggle over minor quibbling details like percentages later.
I shall look forward to brokering the math with you, Cleo. There is one final matter I wish to discuss. I require some chemicals that I have been told are manufactured at a plant on Praetor, controlled by Auntie's Choice.
I know which plant you're referring to, Ruth, and what comes out of it is hardly safe for general use. Out of professional curiosity, what could you possibly need with such dangerous compounds? Running a little experiment, are we? On what? Or whom?
That is, quite frankly, none of your concern.
Precisely. Partners don't withhold secrets, although they can and probably should withhold extremely dangerous chemicals if not properly notified of what they will be used for.
I will make no progress with my request without further explanation, will I? While the Archive is an infinitely complex machine, an equally complex apparatus has been designed which allows one to interact with it directly. Brain-to-logic assembly, as it were. Unfortunately, this headgear exacts a rather tremendous cost on the wearer. A certain panacea is needed to survive it, but I require these chemicals to finish it. No, it is most certainly not. But if humanity only pursued the safe course, we would still be subsisting in caves rather than thriving amongst the stars. Being first inherently comes with risk. But better that I should undertake this endeavor than ask another to do so on my behalf. I am singularly positioned for the task.
And I thought we were the ones who threw caution to the wind. Ah, well, Ruth, if worst comes to worst, I'd be happy to serve as a substitute teacher for the Order.
A generous offer, but I fear you lack a certain number of qualifications. Conscience, for example. You sound just like Laureate Beckett. I'm weary of having this debate, especially as I can never seem to win it. Very well. Never mind about the chemicals. Now is not the time for risky experimentation at any rate.
Oh, bother. Here I wanted to see Ruth lobotomize herself. Ah, well. Best I'll say is today's outcome is workable. Barely. Our gains were not as exclusive as I had hoped they'd be.
Arriving at any arrangement even remotely equitable was statistically improbable. Be glad our mediator managed to find a middle path forward. As am I. You certainly have a way of curving probability into your favor.
Well, that'll be all for today. Don't forget to purchase the latest in Auntie's Choice products out on the value-added Esplanade, or enjoy a refreshing cocktail at the Best Choice. And do come see me personally when you have time. I have just the thing in mind for an accomplished freelancer such as yourself.
One moment. There are still the logistics of recapturing the Archive to consider.
We'll of course provide our expert troops to support these efforts. Have your people call my people to sort details. Toodaloo!
Brusque as ever. Auntie's troopers will certainly help us manage the Protectorate forces easier, especially if supported by your help. But it would be irrational to expect you to endanger your own life without a more specific strategy in place. Fortunately, I have already given this some thought. First, we must reclaim Spireton from the enemy. Spireton once served as the Order's headquarters, due to its proximity to the Archive. Its loss was an affront, and remains so. Unlocking and calling that lift can only be done from within the Archive, however. So you will need to infiltrate the Archive by alternate means, via a bridge connected to Newton. Fortunately, I am told you already dealt with the cultists there. Unfortunately, you will still need to find a way past a small rift currently blocking the bridge. Ordinarily, I do not fancy surprises, but you are proving an exception to that rule. With such a device in hand, bypassing the rift should be as rudimentary as pie. And perhaps at some later date, you will also permit our scientists to analyze this gadget at length in one of our labs, provided all goes according to plan. There is a computronical key that you will also need to locate within the archive called the Calcaduceus. The Calcaduceus grants special access to the archive. Once it is back in Order hands, we will have full control over its systems once more. Until the Order has control over the archive again, this discussion is all but moot. You know what must be done. May you achieve progress in accordance with the plan.
That was some damn fine intermediation, Commander. You might just have a future in finance. You know, after Anti and the Order trounce the Protectorate.